I know. UC Berkeley grad, scientist, living in my car while driving for Uber. Let me explain. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wheel Talk. My name is Trinidad, and today I'm going to be telling you the story of how I went from graduating high school with a 1.8 GPA to graduating from UC Berkeley with honors. I'm going to also talk about how I got into the industry of biotech and purchasing my first house as well, and why I'm currently living in my car, driving for Uber after my regular day job as a scientist. My whole life has felt like an uphill battle. Back in high school, I was a wild child, more focused on having fun than trying to get good grades in school. I think a lot of my behavior had to do with my traumatic childhood, but that's another story for another day. I loved learning, but never saw the value in trying to succeed in school. I barely graduated with a 1.8 GPA. I had no direction until the summer after graduation when I became a father. I was 17 and that moment changed everything. Suddenly, it wasn't just about me. I had a family and I had a purpose. At first I thought about franchising with this pizza place I worked at, but after a couple of years, I realized that wasn't the life I wanted. The business was the owner's whole world, and I wanted something more meaningful for myself. In 2013, I enrolled at Los Medanos Community College. I thought I would be an accountant. It seemed like a practical and stable career. That lasted one day. After my first class, I knew it wasn't for me. Filling in charts and plugging in formulas is not the way that my mind works. And so I pivoted. I focused on general education classes, just trying to find a path. And that's when I met my biology professor, and something clicked. And for the first time in school, I felt motivated and inspired. I felt like biology was a puzzle, and I was able to put the pieces together. During my first semester, I decided to major in biology. My dream was to become a professor at the community college. That first semester at LMC was about proving to myself that I could do this, that I wasn't just a screw-up. I worked hard, and I graduated in 2017 with a 3.8 GPA. Then I transferred to UC Berkeley. Me, a first-generation college student, a father, for barely graduating high school to one of the top universities in the world. And let me be clear, I didn't choose UC Berkeley for the name, although it sure does help. I chose UC Berkeley because of the resources it offered me. My first year, I had a full ride scholarship, including the scholarships that I brought in myself. They had a student parent grant, student parent center, and student family housing. It was an incredible opportunity, and I learned from some of the brightest minds in the world. But it wasn't easy. The workload was crazy, and trying to balance school and home life was difficult. That first semester, I got my first C, and it was a humbling experience to say the least. I was stressed out, and during my time at Cal, I gained about 60 pounds. But I didn't let the struggle stop me. I kept grinding, and I got into a research program, and I was studying the behavior of one of my favorite animals, the mantis shrimp. My work, school, and life balance was out of whack, and after my first year, I ended up moving back home with family to save on money because I didn't want to go into debt. My first year was fully funded, but I was stretched so thin that I didn't have the time to apply for additional scholarships for my second year. During my second year at UC Berkeley, I had to drop out because my finances were a mess. My car was repossessed, and that's when I started driving for Uber and Lyft. During that time I dropped out, I was working on getting my finances in order. I knew I was coming back to finish, I just needed some time. I always kept one foot in the door at UC Berkeley, because even though I withdrew, I still maintained working in the lab, and I would do Uber in Berkeley to keep it front and center of my mind. So while the traditional college students were going about their business, taking Ubers, partying, and having a good time, I was driving them around, them not knowing I was also a student. Long story short, I ended up re-enrolling at UC Berkeley after 3 semesters and graduating with honors. This was in the spring of 2020 during the height of the pandemic. My graduation was online and hosted in Minecraft. A group of students recreated the entire school. And up to that point, I had already experienced a lot of ups and downs in life. And so when the pandemic hit, and people were for the first time experiencing difficulties in their life, I actually thrived. I felt like I was built and molded for the struggle. And so I did what I do best, and that's hustling. And to be honest, I was kind of burnt out with school and was ready to start working, doing anything to earn an income. I was thinking about applying to UPS and the post office. But soon after graduating, a mentor of mine reached out to check in on me. She let me know of this opportunity to apply to a full-time position at a biotech company. She motivated me to keep pushing, and I ended up applying to a post-bac program, a master's program, and this industry position for early and career folks. I ended up getting into the master's program and the industry position, and I decided to go with the industry position because it was a rotation program and a full-time role with benefits. I got relocation assistance, and for the first 2 years, I was only paying $800 a month to live 5 minutes from work. Life was good, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I had, well, time. I graduated the rotation program in 2022 and was able to secure a full-time position in one of the departments I rotated in, and saved enough during those 2 years for a down payment on a house. And currently that's where I'm at, continuing to build experience as a drug developer and working on paying off debt I accrued working on my house. To be honest, the work that I did was not a necessity, it was a want. And if I could do it again, I would have held off on doing the work to the house. You live and you learn. The reason I'm living out of my Prius and driving for Uber is because I'm trying to pay off debt as soon as possible. I want to save years on the interest and free up that money to invest elsewhere. If everything goes according to plan, I should be debt-free by this time next year. And there you have it. That's how I got to where I'm at today. I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm proud of how far I've come. And if you're on your own uphill battle, just keep pushing through, and you never know where the next steps will take you. So if you're interested in this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe.